What do you mean we just ignore it? That sentence stopped Jordan O'Neill mid-note, pen frozen over the clipboard on his lap. He kept his head low, eyes flicking upward toward the woman standing in front of the training room whiteboard. Her name tag read, Supervisor, Carla. She was explaining what to do if a customer asked about food safety dates on prep items. What she said next made his stomach drop. Just brush it off, Carla repeated, arms crossed. We tell them everything rotates daily, whether it does or not. They're never gonna check. Jordan forced himself to keep a blank face. He wasn't just a new hire. He was the founder and CEO of the 7-store burger chain being discussed like a joke. But no one in this small, windowless training room knew that. Carla had never met him, he made sure of that. Each location was opened one by one, over a decade of sweat and hustle. He'd done every job from flipping patties to mopping floors. But now, with a corporate office and over 200 employees, he was buried in meetings and spreadsheets. It had been too long since he'd seen the floor himself. He'd gotten an email from HR last month about a few complaints from the newest store on West Belmont. High turnover, training issues, customer reviews dipping. But nothing that raised red flags until a former employee sent a handwritten letter to the office. Said she was let go after reporting unsafe practices during training. No details, no proof, just one line that stuck with him. You built something good once. I don't think you'd like what it's become. So Jordan shaved his beard, dyed his hair light brown, and put on thick glasses. He used a fake name Eli. Told the hiring manager he was a college dropout looking for steady work. No one at the West Belmont location had ever met him. Corporate didn't send any photos around. It was perfect. And now here he was, day one of his undercover shift, sitting through a training session with 5 other new hires, and hearing a supervisor tell them to lie. Seriously? Said a young woman beside him, Grace. He thought her name was. But what if the food's expired? Carla waved her hand. Look, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying don't open a can of worms. Customers don't need all the details. Just smile and keep it moving. Jordan looked around. Most of the others were quiet, unsure what to say. Grace didn't let it go. That doesn't feel right. Carla turned to her, voice flat. Then maybe this job isn't for you. Jordan stared at the floor. Something twisted in his gut. He'd built this company on good food and better service. He always said, do right by the customer and the team will follow. But this was the opposite. They moved on to scheduling. Carla explained how shifts were flexible, but warned them not to ask for weekends off for the first 3 months, or they'd be seen as unreliable. Then she handed out packets and told them to fill in emergency contacts. Grace leaned over, whispering to Jordan. That didn't seem normal, did it? No, he muttered. It didn't. After training, he clocked in for his first shadow shift. The kitchen was short-staffed. Carla said 2 people had quit last week. Jordan was paired with a line cook named Rico, who looked exhausted but stayed upbeat. He showed Jordan how to assemble meals fast, even during rushes. You're picking it up quick, Rico said, wiping sweat from his brow. We need good people, man. Lot of folks come and go. How long you been here? Jordan asked. 7 months. Longest in the kitchen. Believe it or not. You like it? Rico paused. I did. When Miguel was manager. He got transferred last month. Carla took over. Jordan nodded. What changed? Rico lowered his voice. She don't care. Cuts corners, yells a lot, and if you push back, you're gone. Place used to feel like family. Now it's just a job. Later that evening, Jordan helped close. He stayed late, mopping up after dinner rush, while Carla sat in the office with her feet up. Grace had stayed too, doing dishes even after her shift ended. On her way out, she said to Jordan, I'm thinking of quitting already, but you seem decent. Maybe I'll give it one more day. That hit him harder than she knew. He walked home that night, head spinning. It wasn't just a rough manager. It was culture rot. And if West Belmont was this bad, what if the others were heading the same way? He pulled out his phone and opened the employee scheduling app. Tomorrow, Carla was holding a second training session for the next group of hires. Jordan signed up. He wasn't done yet. The next morning, Jordan arrived early, blending in again as Eli, his employee badge clipped to his cap. The store hadn't opened yet, but the kitchen lights were on, and a faint chemical smell drifted through the back hallway. Someone was already scrubbing floors. He found Rico on his knees near the walk-in freezer, scouring tiles with a brittle brush. "No janitor today?" Jordan asked, setting his backpack down. Rico pushed his cap back, his hands raw. "We haven't had one since last week. Carla said it's on rotation now. If you close the night before, you deep clean the next morning." "Lucky me. You working at double?" "Yeah. No one else available." Jordan wanted to say something, anything, but his mouth stayed shut. He picked up a mop without being asked. The second training session started at 8 in the break room. Carla was already there, scrolling through her phone. For new hires, all younger, sat in metal folding chairs. When Jordan entered, she barely glanced at him. "Same as yesterday," she said, not looking up. "Grab a packet, sit tight." He took a seat near the back, resting his arms on the table. The girl beside him caught his eye. Tall, soft-spoken, with a nervous energy. She kept smoothing the sleeves of her shirt. Her name tag read Nina. "First job?" Jordan asked. "No, just first one since my son was born," she said. "Trying to get back into a routine." Carla clapped her hands once. "All right, phone's away. Let's move." She launched into a rushed explanation of the POS system, skipping half the slides. "You'll figure it out on the floor. Don't stress it." One guy asked if there was a training manual. "Just shadow someone your first week," she replied. "The good ones learn quick." Midway through, Jordan noticed her skipping the section on harassment policy. She flipped right past it without a word. When one of the trainees raised their hand about breaks, Carla sighed. "You get one if it's slow. If it's slammed, it's all hands. You eat when we say you can eat." "That legal?" the trainee asked. Carla stared at him. "Do you want the job or not?" No one said anything after that. Once training ended, Jordan headed to the grill station. The morning rush was already building. The drive-through headset kept crackling orders stacking up faster than they could fill them. Rico was already in the weeds, moving like a machine. A teenager named Layla was on fries, her hands trembling as she worked. "Hey, need help?" Jordan asked. She nodded quickly but didn't speak. He jumped in, dropping baskets and checking timers. The fryer oil was cloudy, and the filters hadn't been changed. He made a note to ask later if Carla would even listen. At noon, things hit a wall. A customer at the counter shouted, "I asked for no cheese. My daughter has an allergy." The front cashier, a lanky kid named Trayvon, froze. Jordan caught the shift in his eyes, panic. Carla stepped out from the back office, sipping iced coffee. "Just remake it," she said, then glanced at Trayvon. "And stop staring like a deer. You screwed it up." Trayvon's face dropped, but he nodded and turned back toward the register. Jordan leaned over to Rico. "She always talked to people like that?" Rico didn't look away from the grill. "Worse, when no one's watching." By 2, the lunch crowd faded. Carla called a smoke break for herself. No one else moved. Layla sat down on an upside-down bucket, rubbing her wrist. "You okay?" Jordan asked. "I worked doubles all week," she said. "I'm supposed to be part-time. School starts next week." "Why not say something?" "I did. She told me if I couldn't handle it, She had someone who could. Jordan didn't answer. He just sat beside her until she got back up. Later, while restocking the walk-in, he overheard Carla and another shift lead, Marcus, talking near the dry storage shelves. She asked for Saturdays off again, Carla said. Tired of this single mom excuse. Jordan froze. Marcus laughed. Just cut her hours. She'll get the hint. Already did. 2 shifts next week. Jordan closed the freezer door quietly and walked out. His hands were shaking. That wasn't poor management. That was targeted cruelty. Back on the floor, he found Nina wiping tables. She looked tense. Everything all right? He asked. She hesitated. She said I was too slow and too distracted. I asked if I could take a short break to call my sitter. She rolled her eyes and told me I needed to decide what mattered more. My job or my mom stuff. That was it. Jordan stepped away, washed his hands, and walked straight to the office. Carla was leaned back in the manager chair, scrolling again. He shut the door behind him. You have no idea who I am, do you? She looked up, frowning. Excuse me? I'm Jordan O'Neill, he said. I own this company. There was a long pause. Her hand slowly lowered the phone. He kept his voice steady. I came here undercover because I got reports this store was struggling. I didn't expect to find a manager using power to bully and humiliate employees. But that's exactly what I've seen. Overworked staff. Ignored safety. Discrimination. Look, I didn't. You did, he said. You skipped harassment training. You mocked an employee's family situation. You assigned doubles to a part-time high schooler and made a mother choose between her child and a paycheck. She stood up. If this is some kind of test, it's not. It's over. No, wait. I've heard enough. He opened the door and stepped out into the kitchen. Marcus, he said. Come here. The shift lead walked over, confused. You're done here too. I heard the conversation. You backed it up. Hold on, no discussion. Turn in your badge. Security will escort you both out. Carla's face had gone pale. Marcus sputtered, but said nothing. Jordan turned to Rico. Can you hold it down for a few minutes? Rico nodded slowly. Yeah, we got it. Jordan gathered the staff in the break room. My name is Jordan O'Neill. I started this place out of a food truck 15 years ago, and I'm sorry for what's been happening here. It's not what we stand for. No one spoke. They just stared, stunned. Effective immediately, this store is under review. I'll be here personally for the next few weeks. We're bringing in a new manager, someone from outside this building. Until then, I'll be running the floor with you. He looked around. You've been carrying this place without support. That changes today. Nina blinked hard, her lips pressed together. Layla looked down at her shoes. We'll start with scheduling. Everyone gets proper hours and breaks. If you've been mistreated, my office door is open. No retaliation. That's a promise. Jordan didn't expect applause. He just hoped they believed him, because now the real work had to begin. The next morning, Jordan arrived before sunrise. The parking lot was still empty except for Rico's rusted sedan and Layla's old hatchback. The sky was a dull gray, and the air smelled faintly like fryer oil from the vents. He unlocked the side entrance with the override key he'd pulled from corporate late the night before. No one had argued. He moved quietly through the hallway, pausing outside the manager's office. The desk was bare now. Carla's things had been boxed up the night before and sent to HR. Her access codes had been revoked within the hour. Marcus hadn't returned after being escorted out. There had been no pushback from either of them. That told Jordan everything he needed to know. By 6:30, the kitchen lights were on and the prep list was already underway. Rico was at the sink, chopping onions with his earbuds dangling from his neck. You live here now? Jordan asked, stepping in. Rico glanced over, startled, then gave a tired laugh. Figured I'd beat the rush. You're not alone anymore, Jordan said. He grabbed gloves from the box and started slicing tomatoes without waiting for permission. By 7, Nina had arrived, her hair tied back in a clean bun. She didn't ask questions when she saw Jordan behind the prep line. She just nodded and joined him at the sink. "Morning," she said. "Morning," he replied. "You good to run front counter today?" "Yeah, better than yesterday. Let me know what you need." At 7:45, the replacement manager arrived. Her name was Denise. She was in her late 40s, composed, and had run one of the original stores for over 6 years. She'd driven in from across town when Jordan called her the night before. She stepped inside, took one look around, and said, "We've got work to do." Jordan briefed her in the back, keeping it short. "Staff's rough around the edges but solid. They've been holding this place together on fumes. No clear leadership, no structure. They need someone who's fair and present." "I'm not here to babysit," Denise said, crossing her arms. "But I don't tolerate nonsense either. If they're willing to work, I'll meet them halfway. That's all I want." She nodded once. "Let's get started." By opening time, the entire team was in place. Grace had returned, watching carefully from her spot at the register. She hadn't said anything yet, but she showed up early and hadn't asked to leave. Layla was quieter than usual, but when Denise handed her a fresh prep list and asked if she wanted help reorganizing the fry station, her posture shifted. "You know how to run fryers?" Layla asked, skeptical. Denise grinned. "I've cleaned more grease traps than you've had birthdays." That earned the girl's first real smile in days. As the doors opened, Jordan took the headset and ran drive-through. He didn't tell anyone how many years it had been since he wore one. He just worked. The orders came in steady, nothing overwhelming, but enough to keep everyone busy. Denise circulated constantly, stepping in to guide rather than command. When Trayvon hesitated over a refund, she walked him through it without raising her voice. When the soda machine jammed, she fixed it herself. By noon, the rhythm had returned. But not everything was smooth. An older man in a button-down shirt walked in, pacing near the front counter. When Nina approached, he spoke sharply. "Is there anyone else who can help me? Someone who actually speaks clear English?" Nina blinked, startled. "Excuse me? I've been here before. You weren't helpful last time either. Maybe you should be on dishes, not the register." Jordan was already halfway there. He stepped in beside her. "I'll take it from here." The man looked him up and down. "You corporate?" "I'm the owner." The man's jaw tightened. "Then maybe you should hire people who know how to talk to customers." Jordan didn't raise his voice. "You're done here." "What?" "You don't speak to anyone like that. Not in this building. You're no longer welcome." "You're banning me?" "Yes." The man huffed, muttered something under his breath, and stormed out. Nina stood frozen, her hands shaking slightly. Jordan turned to her. "You all right?" She nodded after a moment. "Yeah, just wasn't expecting that." "You handled it fine," he said. "Don't carry his ignorance." She gave a slow breath. "Thank you. Go take 5. Denise will cover." Nina hesitated. "There's still orders. You've earned 5 minutes." She nodded and stepped into the back, eyes still wide. Denise approached quietly. "That happen often?" Jordan shook his head. "Not anymore." By mid-afternoon, the shift had settled. Grace took over the headset, working with a calm focus that surprised even herself. Trayvon began asking questions, real ones, about food cost and inventory. Rico finally sat down to eat something for the first time that day. Denise handed him a bottle of water and told him to take 10. He didn't argue. Jordan stayed close, watching, not correcting, just listening. Around 4, A woman in her 20s came in for an interview. She was early, dressed neatly, resume in hand. Denise sat with her in the break room while Jordan reviewed inventory logs in the office. 15 minutes later, Denise stepped in. She's solid. Experience at 2 chains. Wants full-time. Can start tomorrow. Make it happen, Jordan said. Denise hesitated. She mentioned something. Said she applied here 3 weeks ago. Got turned away by Carla. No reason given. Just not a good fit. What's her background? College student. Black. Said Carla barely looked at her application. Jordan felt his jaw set. Thanks for telling me. She'll be on the schedule starting tomorrow. He nodded. Good. That evening, the dinner crowd came in fast. A local high school had just let out, and a stream of teenagers flooded the lobby. The noise level jumped, but the team held the line. Grace managed the counter without flinching. Rico moved like he had a second wind. Even Layla cracked jokes by the fryer. Jordan stepped back and watched for a moment. Denise joined him near the condiments. Still think you needed to go undercover? She asked. He didn't answer immediately. Yeah, he said finally. I did. Then what comes next? He looked around the store. We rebuild. 1 shift at a time. They stood there for a while, leaning quietly against the wall as the team pushed through the rush. No one asked where Carla or Marcus had gone. No one missed them either. 3 weeks later, the West Belmont store was quieter, but not slower. The changes hadn't been flashy. There were no banners, no corporate press releases. Just steadier shifts, clearer expectations, and people finally walking into work without bracing for the worst. The lunch rush still pushed the team hard, but there was rhythm now. Orders flowed down the line without the chaos, and no one got barked at for asking questions. Jordan had stayed low-key since the reveal, stepping back from the register but remaining in the building most days. He rotated between prep and inventory, handling supplier calls, and running short huddles with Denise each morning before opening. He didn't make speeches or hover over shoulders. He just showed up every single day, until it became normal to see the owner elbow deep in dry storage or hauling plastic tubs through the back hallway. One Thursday afternoon, Denise walked into the break room holding a stack of paper. Weekly schedules. Let me know if anything doesn't work, but I did my best to go off your availability forms. Layla glanced at hers, then looked up. I'm actually off next Tuesday? You've got a math exam. I remembered. Layla stared at her for a second. Thanks. Denise moved on without making a big deal of it. Across the room, Grace folded her copy, then turned to Jordan. You ever think of installing a bell that rings every time someone actually gets their requested day off? I'll order one, he said. She snorted. You staying past close again tonight? She asked. I'm sticking around, he said. But you're off at 8. Don't stay late. She didn't argue. By 5 o'clock, the lobby filled with regulars. The tall guy who always ordered 2 grilled chicken wraps with no lettuce. The couple from the body shop down the street. A grandmother who always tipped in cash, even though tipping wasn't expected. A woman in her 60s approached the counter carefully, holding the hand of a boy who looked about 7. Nina leaned forward, crouching slightly so she was eye level with him. You want to tell me what you're ordering today? The boy grinned but stayed quiet. The woman spoke up. He always wants the same plain cheeseburger. No pickles, no sauce, extra napkins. Coming right up, Nina said. You want to help me hit the button? She gently guided his finger over the touchscreen. The boy laughed. Jordan watched from near the fountain machine, arms crossed over his apron. Denise stepped beside him. You see that? She asked. Yeah. She's got the patience for this. Not just the job. The people. She told me last week she almost didn't come back after day 1. Denise nodded slowly. She's not the only one. In the back, Rico was moving more deliberately than usual. His limp had worsened slightly, he hadn't mentioned it, but Jordan noticed him wincing when he stepped off the mat near the fryer. After the rush died down, Jordan pulled him aside. "You good?" Rico leaned against the cooler. "Just my knee acting up. I'm all right. Have you seen anyone about it?" "Not yet. Don't have coverage." Jordan didn't lecture. He reached into his back pocket and handed over a small envelope. "What's this?" "Temporary stipend. Until the new benefit package kicks in next month. Use it. No questions." Rico looked down at the envelope, then back at him. "You didn't have to do that." "I couldn't not do it." Rico nodded. "Appreciate it." Later that evening, Denise called everyone into the break room after close. The dining area was spotless. Chairs flipped upside down on tables, mop drying in the corner. "Before anyone clocks out," she said, "we've got some final updates." She held up a clipboard. "Effective next week, we're reinstating hourly evaluations. If you're doing well, it'll reflect in your pay. If you want to move up, we'll give you a track. No more waiting around hoping someone notices." She passed the sheet around clear steps, timelines, and contact info for the new regional HR partner. Trayvon raised a hand. "So wait. There's actually a way to move into management now?" "Yes," Denise said. "You hit the benchmarks, we invest in you. Full stop." He nodded. "That's all right. Cool." Nina leaned forward. "What about harassment reports? Who do we talk to? I know you're here, but long term." "There's a hotline now," Denise replied. "Calls go to someone outside this building. No one here screens them. Anonymous if you want it." Grace crossed her arms. "And that's actually real? Not one of those fake lines that dumps into someone's voicemail?" "The region VP monitors it directly," Jordan said from the back. "And I'll be checking it myself." That silenced the room for a beat. Denise scanned their faces. "Anything else?" No one spoke. "All right," she said. "Go home. Rest. You've earned it." The next day was slower, a Friday with light traffic until evening. Around 3, a man in a white button-down shirt arrived, clipboard in hand. He introduced himself to Denise as a health inspector conducting a routine surprise check. Jordan watched quietly as the man moved through every nook of the kitchen. He tested temperatures, flipped lids, asked about rotation logs. Layla answered every question calmly. Rico showed him the new cleaning checklist taped to the cooler. After 45 minutes, the inspector returned to the front. "Well-run store," he said to Denise. "Clean. Good documentation. You'd be surprised how rare that is." "Thanks," she replied. He handed over his report. "Passed with 0 violations. Keep it up." After he left, Jordan turned to Rico. "You've done a lot more than just cook this month." Rico shrugged. "Had to. Can't build something halfway." That night, as the team finished up, Jordan gathered his things quietly. For the first time in weeks, he wasn't staying late. Denise had it. The team had it. He stepped outside into the cool evening air, slipping his keys into his jacket pocket. The lot was mostly empty, just a few cars left. The streetlights flickered on, and across the parking lot, he spotted Grace walking toward the bus stop. She didn't see him. He watched for a moment, then turned and headed for his car. Inside, he sat for a few seconds before pulling out his phone. He opened the company's internal messaging app and typed one line into the company-wide board. "Starting Monday, I'll be rotating through every store again. 1 week at a time. You'll see me on the floor." He hit send. No more blind spots. No more distance. Not ever again.